wouldn't make as much.
No, well, that's probably
Oh, I
true.
know, right?
But I'd make a difference, wouldn't I?
You would?
I don't know if I would or not. Mrs. Brooks is going to do a little commercial break for us. before-
Yes, she's here.
All right.
Saying now.
Let me put your slide up, it's beautiful.
Oh, well, if it's beautiful, then we must have
They
it.
must have it.
There we go. That's our annual fundraiser for the Westminster Residents Association, and it supports all the activities of the Westminster Residents Association. So that includes all our committees, that includes special projects, it includes donations to outside groups that we think have helped Westminster, including the Austin History group, and I can't think of their official name. So there's lots of things we do with the money, and it goes to a great cause. It all goes back to you, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And we're selling tickets in the back. You can charge it. You can write a check. You can give us cash. We will not take any cyber coins or bitcoins
Or chickens.
or chickens.
Chicken.
A chicken in every pot. I think that was from the 20s. So be sure, and we've got headbands, we've got gangster hats or fedoras, we'll say, so it doesn't sound bad. But it's going to be great fun, lots of things for you to do, lots of 1920s food to eat, and a great 1920s band, and some card playing, and some trivia, costume contests, you name it, it's going to be there. So come on back, the co-chairs Phyllis and Kay. I don't know how I ended up doing a commercial, but they are ready to bring the tickets to you if you need them. If you didn't bring money, cash, or anything else but a smile, we'll take your name and we'll bring it to your door. So everybody needs to come. It's going to be great fun. Thanks.
Great cause, too. Okay. A little humor this morning, or this afternoon. The pot of gold is great, but I really wish we were tall enough to ride a roller coaster. I've got March Madness. It follows my February fits and comes right before my April agitation. Shredding the March Madness, the brackets. Did you ever notice that Dad calls us March Madness because of basketball and Mom calls it March Madness because it's our spring break? Been there. Best thing about March, you never know when a free lawn chair will blow by. Oh no, clear skies all week. The problem with keeping your pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. What is that smell? I'm making corned beef and cabbage. Do I have to eat it? Gil, you like corned beef and cabbage. I do? Yes, I make it every St. Patrick's Day and you always eat it. But it smells so bad. The cabbage gets stinky when you cook it. We go through this every year. Are you sure? I think I'd remember a smell like that. Go play in your room until dinner, Gil. Hey, this is really good. I'm going to show you this video next year. May the wind at your back not be the result of the corned beef and cabbage you had for lunch. St. Patrick's Day wish that everybody can appreciate. How'd you find the hidden pot of gold? I follow you on Twitter. Ah, March, the last month before the neighbors start complaining that I haven't mowed my lawn. This lady's from a generation that knows how to enjoy the moment. I totally get that. So many people are looking through their phones now. All right. Questions and answers. When a dining menu item includes sausage, could it please indicate if it contains beef and/or pork? Some residents have dietary restrictions or religious preferences. Yes, we can do that. Question, why is Tower Gym locked sometimes, accessible with a fob sometimes, and other times wide open? Could the door be open all the time, just like the Preston Annex gym? We'll look into that. The gym should be open for resident use 24 hours a day with a fob. I would prefer the door stay closed. I think it's safer that way. At our previous chat, you wanted to show us a sample of the proposed pickleball court surface to allay our concerns about the noise caused by the game. I brought those samples today. They're down here on the stage. You may have not understood that the very irritating noise from a pickleball game court is not caused by the surface. Well, I think it's a combination. It is caused by the sound of the ball hitting the rackets. How bad does Westminster want to alienate their own residents and the neighbors across the street? Really badly. We really want to alienate everyone. No, we don't. And I said before, we're going to use sound mitigation, and part of that mitigation is the surface here. Also, you can purchase rackets and balls that mitigate sound as well. And you can get them right off of the internets, as George W. would say. Why doesn't Rowan provide takeout? It's in my building, and sometimes I'd like to pick up takeout during dining hours for my partner who will be returning late from the meeting, or because we were watching a TV movie, or because we just would like to have a quiet evening in our apartment. Why should I have to go all the way over to the bistro to get takeout from their menu? I live in the Carlisle building. The Rowan dining is right in my building, and I like the Rowan menu. Simple answer is Rowan's really not set up for delivery. There is a very reasonable delivery available. I think it's $5 for delivery. And you can use dining dollars for that. We will explore the possibility in the future.
If you're willing to go pick it up yourself,
It's really not, it's the space required to store it while it's waiting to be picked up, right? And the bistro and the Laurel can both handle that much easier than the Rowan can. We're producing food for assisted living at the same time that we're producing food for the Rowan. So it's really difficult to do delivery or takeout from that location. There seems to be some debate about replacing the takeout containers with reusable containers. Which is worse for the environment, throwaway plastic containers or using water and electricity for washing reusable containers? According to the experts, and I am not an expert, reusable containers are better for the environment compared to the alternative. Yes, we will be washing the reusable containers. It takes electricity, water, and soap for that. But dishwashers are very efficient nowadays, and they're on all the time, right? They're on from the time we open in the morning until the time we shut down at night. And they actually recycle their water now. So they're pretty efficient. The power is already being used. The staff is already here. Additional soap, yes, a little bit, but it really doesn't cause that much more expense to wash them as opposed to throwing them away. And of course, it has the capability of saving some money by not having to purchase the throwaway containers. So we believe that the experts are correct, that it is going to reduce our carbon footprint and really be a good thing for the community. Some of you support that, some of you do not. We'll just see how it goes. What is the status of the Friendship Fund? It is in good shape. The Friendship Fund, so when you moved into Westminster, we financially qualified you, right? We also health qualified you. And the reason that we financially qualify you is so that we know and you know that your assets should last the rest of your life. If for some reason they don't, the Friendship Fund is there to assist you. So nobody ever gets kicked out of Westminster, unless you throw plates at us or something like that. But for the most part, nobody gets kicked out of Westminster, even if you run out of assets. Now, that doesn't mean that you can give your assets away to your favorite son. You still have to, use your money and your assets reasonably. But if you reach a point that you can no longer afford to pay your monthly service fee, then the Friendship Fund will kick in and it'll provide a hardship for you. And there's a couple people living here now that are taking part in that. But when I came to work here, the Friendship Fund was about $1.4 million. Today, it's a little more than $2 million. So over the years, I've been here 16 years. I think the most I've ever seen on Friendship Fund and maybe 3. And so it's done quite well. It's continued to increase. It's in good shape.
What fund's that?
I'm sorry?
What fund's that?
Resident donations typically. Also, the board at times has made contributions to the fund. And then we have an investment policy, which the Finance Committee and I changed the investment policy back in 2014, and it really does very well for us since we made those changes. It's a conservative policy, but it does very well. Question, your review of the expansion plans describe the new library areas having a table for IT. Does this mean our IT staff will have an office in there? No. There will be an IT help desk that Westminster and residents can staff to provide residents assistance. So, just a little area that they'll be able to staff a couple hours a day, and also resident IT committee members could go in there and provide assistance to residents that may need help with their smart devices, computers, etc. Question, the new pottery studio is very nice and already has a stained glass fusing area set up with fusing tools and supplies in the kiln room. I love doing stained glass fusing. Is everything there for anyone to use on glasswork? If not, when will the space be available for others to use? If you have interest in doing stained glass work, please reach out to Ruth. And the setup is in there currently belongs to a resident doing a project, but she has said that she would help teach people and help them use the equipment. So we should be able to find a way to share the space because we all get along. We're great neighbors. Question, will Preston modifications ever be finished in my lifetime? Your lifetime. My lifetime. Well, I hope so. I hope so. I don't, how many of you know that I don't like doing all of these modifications? Oh, you all are convinced that I like to do it? No, I hate it. I hate it. I want us to walk through the Preston building and there would be no issues. That would be awesome. Every building would be like that, honestly, if I had my choice. I know that, take my glasses off and talk sincerely to you. I know that this is not fun. I know it's not. And I actually, it's so interesting. I was telling a group yesterday that I prayed for another cold snap because we hadn't finished with the ground floor, and we have to finish that ground floor. Because if we can't finish that ground floor, then it would stall us in doing the work that has to happen on C-Wing. And I think there's one more cold snap maybe next week for a couple days. But we really needed another cold snap because we had to shut down the air conditioning for the entire Preston building and drain it down. And if we hadn't had the cold snap, we wouldn't have been able to do that. So it's, I know it's miserable, and I sure don't want to have to do it. But if I don't do it, we might wake up one morning and be sinking, or you may be flooded, and we don't want to do that. Question, why is the Angwing Preston stairwell so dirty? We've answered this before. I think we're gonna, they sent another question. EVS does keep the stairwells as clean as possible. In the past, they were steam cleaned by maintenance to get rid of heavy footprints. It was noisy and shut down the stairwells temporarily, but made the stairwells look as though we were paying attention to them. Maybe someone needs to walk down the A-Wing North Mopac side stairwell to see if it has a positive or negative extraordinary impression. And I assure you it is a negative impression. We will look into this and address. We really do need to steam clean that stairwell. That's where the kitchen traffic goes through. Question, seeing the menu change announcement a week in advance is a great idea. In the future, could you also show the proposed new menu along with the announcement? That would let me order my soon-to-disappear favorite item at least 5 times in a row before it disappears. We will look into that, absolutely. Somebody's clearly disappointed with the new menu somewhere. Question, are residents allowed to bring pets into the Laurel, Bistro, or Rowan if picking up to-go orders? And the answer is no. The pet guidelines are very specific on this. Pets are not allowed in the dining rooms. The Rowan Tree Cocktail Lounge, fitness centers, wellness clinic, library, or aquatic center at any time except for service animals. And I'll need to add another space to that. We probably shouldn't take them into the pottery studio or the woodworking shop, because I would hate for somebody to make a bowl and get dog hair on it. That would not be good. They would be unhappy with us. So we probably need to keep them out of there too. Question, will the Westminster vehicles ever have a home on campus? We hope so. After phase 4, likely the buses can be moved back to the campus. All other vehicles are kept on the campus currently. They're just in the garage, so you may not see them. Question, please explain how Westminster can be classified as a nonprofit when the charge for a bottle of wine or takeout is as much as 275% higher than the cost of the same bottle at Total Wine or H-E-B. I do have an explanation. You may not like it. We introduced the wine program with low prices at the beginning of the new amenity. However, we are not set up to be a packaged liquor store. We don't have the budget for it or the storage capability. We also don't want the beverage budget to dilute the raw food budget. Dining dollars is an allocation primarily for purchasing of meals. We did keep in-restaurant pricing very reasonable, correct? We wanted to provide the flexibility for the purchase of a bottle of wine if you wish on occasion to do so, but must be sure to not impact the food budget negatively. So basically, if we continue to spend dining dollars on wine and beverages, eventually we'll have less money to spend on food. And who wants to get a lesser quality steak? Anybody? Oh, no puppies? Okay. Can you buy a steak anywhere in town besides Westminster for $18? No. So the pricing on the menu is really reasonable, but what we can't afford to do is for you to spend all your dining dollars on bottles of wine, because that will eventually erode into the raw food budget. And so we can't afford to do both. And we're not set up to be, we don't have storage for cases of wine to sit in our storage, our dry storage rooms or refrigerators. So we introduced the lower pricing to get you hooked. And then we ratcheted up the price because we don't want it to impact the raw food budget. We do want you to be able to enjoy a cocktail or a glass of wine in the dining rooms. We just can't afford to let you, erode the dining dollars in the raw food budget, because it would impact the quality of the food that we serve eventually. Everybody okay with that? Question, can you tell us a little about the chaplain program? Are they employed by Westminster? What is their role to residents and associates? How many of you are aware that we have a chaplain program? Raise your hand. Not very many. So we do have a chaplain program. It's a contracted service. They're called senior living chaplains. And they're here for both the residents and the associates. And I brought this on, I think about 4 years ago. And there's a group that come here and they visit our campus almost daily. And it's been helpful. Some residents in skilled nursing, assisted living, memory care don't have a lot of visitors, and so they check in on those people. Independent living residents on occasion. Any of you depressed? No. Some people do get depressed once in a while.
They're in their rooms.
Yeah, they are. They might be. And that's true, right? You don't really think about that, but there are residents that are, maybe they have declined and they're not able to see as well as they once could, or they have mobility issues. And I felt a few years ago that there were people that maybe fell through the cracks and didn't have visitors, maybe didn't have family to check in on them, so I brought this program on. Also, at times there's associates that are sad or frustrated, or they can't make ends meet, or they have some depression, or there's a problem in their family, or they've had a death of a loved one, and this service has helped them. It's been very meaningful for quite a few people. I've got some letters about it. So we brought this service on, and they're very good. You know, they'll talk to you if you want to. If you don't want to, they won't mess with you. But I think it's been very beneficial to us, and our especially on the associate side. And there's been some residents that I've seen wouldn't talk to anybody but the chaplains, and so it's helped them. So that's why the service exists. They're contracted with Westminster. They're not employees of Westminster. They're available 24/7. Anytime you want information and you want to be able to reach out to somebody on the list, on one of our chaplains, you can just ask reception. They can get you the information. You can get their cell phone numbers and call them directly, and they'll be willing to stop by. It's the service that's available 24/7 for anybody. We lost a couple of associates in 2023, and they came and did celebrations of life with our staff and helped counsel some of our associates through that. And so it's been a meaningful service, and I'm glad to have it. Yes, sir.
The qualifications are pretty high for institutional chaplains, particularly within the major denominations. And I'm wondering what kind of a qualification this organization has. And I also wonder about whether it's from a more conservative religious background.
It is, and they're all vetted. I can tell you that they're vetted and credentialed through this company, and they report to us. And I get a quarterly report on their contacts as well. And so, yeah, most of them are very conservative, I would say, and they are all credentialed chaplains or pastors. All right, some updates. Visitation is allowed in healthcare and assisted living. Masks are not required for a little while. We'll see. I hope it lasts a long time. So there's no active cases of COVID in any of the levels of care. So you don't have to wear a mask anymore, and you can go visit if you're feeling well. Residents must still screen, though, at the healthcare desk, reception desk, and the assisted living, right? Please follow all precautionary guidelines, and if you don't feel well, stay home. And that goes for this chat, too. If you don't feel well, stay home. Spectrum is moving along, in their words, not mine, and still correcting some wiring. So some of the apartments they're having to go back into because the wiring doesn't work for some reason, and they're replacing that wire and pulling new wire. And there was about, I think I spoke about that last time, but there was about 50 apartments that needed to have new wires pulled. Once that wiring is pulled, then they should be able to start moving towards getting the system online. They can't, of According to them, they cannot put the system online until all of the WAPs are in place. Preston HVAC Plumbing, that's the job that's making the Preston kind of miserable, especially on the ground floor right now. It is complete on A and B wing. The ground floor is finished except for one pipe that we hope to finish next week if we have a cold snap. There's one 5-inch pipe that has to be produced. That's the key to that project being completed. And then C-wing is more complicated because it has less horizontal runs and more vertical runs. So there'll be a plan to eventually, over the next couple months, start working on C-wing. And when we start doing that, we'll actually have to get into some apartments to do that work. And we'll set up a schedule, and we'll try to knock out one floor at a time to get those done. Harrisville Hall, ACE Audio Project.
I have a question on the HVAC.
Yeah,
On B wing on the first floor, some of the patches in the wall are not completed.
right.
Could you address that? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, so he asked when the patches on the B-wing hall will be completed on the first floor.
First floor.
Right. So those patches were put in place temporarily to allow for removal and access between the ground floor and the first floor. So as they're replacing the pipe on the ground floor, they have to connect to the pipe that's on the first floor. And so they remove those panels. Once those connections are completed and the piping insulated, then they'll go back with regular sheetrock and it'll become a permanent replacement.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's why those areas on B-wing are a little thicker than the rest of the sheetrock. Those are temporary panels that they put in place, and then they pop those off when they do the connection piece between the floors. It is a pain. This whole job is a pain. So, but the good news is we won't have to do it for another 50 years. And this copper pipe is supposed to last longer than the steel did, so. Okay, so the Harrisville Hall project, most of it's been done except for the cameras working for live broadcast and our ability to both broadcast on 1890 simultaneously and record it. We're still using iPads. So it should be in about a month, they'll have that. The cameras are actually installed. You can actually see them. Once they finish this last bit of work in about a month, then we'll be able to display on 1890 what's going on in Harrisville Hall and also record it. So we can play it at later dates and also on 1890. So, and it should be much better sound quality and picture quality than the iPad. So, and actually, if you open up the closet, maybe if Maria or Ruth would open that closet back there on your way out, you can actually see the screens and it projects what the camera sees right now. So it's pretty neat. Once it's finished, it'll be great. The Rowan Restaurant. How many people realize the Rowan Restaurant closed down for a bit? Yeah. How many of you are mad at me about it? Wow. It wasn't my fault, really.
Buck stops there.
They don't know how, but what basically happened is there's a huge exhaust fan on the roof, and it removes the exhaust or the air and grease and everything coming up from the hood or the kitchen equipment. It's part of the hood system that sits above that kitchen equipment. Apparently, that exhaust fan flew apart 1 year into its use, right? It should last 20 years, but it has a warranty for 1 year. And it flew apart 1 year and 3 weeks after we received the bill. So naturally, it's not covered by warranty. Now, they tell me that the only way that could have happened is if something either was dropped into it or was sucked up into it. We didn't find anything that was sucked up into it, and quite frankly, haven't been able to see that anything has fallen down into it. So I don't know. But I guess the good news is, there should be a crane on site Friday to replace that system, and the Rowan should be open for business Tuesday of next week, I think. Assuming that it doesn't rain and the crane arrives on time.
You have the parts.
We have the parts. We have the parts. We have the hood exhaust system. We do have that. And do you believe that I had nothing to do with that? Okay, all right. Yes, ma'am?
I have a question. It seems like there could be some thought, if something like this ever happens again, it seems like there could be some thought given to providing for some sort of food service at the Rowan, regardless of whether you're able to use that hood or not, like a food truck or something that, you know, if we just think a little bit outside the box. There are a lot of people who really count on the Rowan, and not only residents, but also employees, and it just seems like if we just try to think a little bit more outside the box, maybe we could come up with some solutions to be able to provide some food service.
Well, I feel like we are still providing good food service in the bistro in Laurel. I understand what you're saying. I don't think you'd be satisfied with the quality of the food that you would receive from a food truck. Nor
There's
us,
some really good
addition-
food trucks in Austin.
Maybe there are. Maybe there are. And you know, I'm sorry that it was shut down at all, but you know, we're getting it back as quickly as we can, and that's kind of why, one of the reasons we have additional restaurants. And again, you know, we can do delivery. It's very inexpensive to get food delivered, and we have a great program everywhere. So I'm sorry for the inconvenience. All right. So we did open the new tree house, and I don't know the associate tree house. I'm not sure how many of you have been able to see it. Danny Roach and Maria opened this for us, did the ribbon cutting, and they're our most tenured employees. And so it was pretty neat for them to do that. And it really looks great. It's a great looking space. I'm sorry that some of you are offended that you can't go through the space. And I'm sorry. But it's really meant for associate use. And the associate should have a space that is shut off from you, quite frankly. Because, you know, the associates here, they're fantastic people, really. The most of them. I'd say all of them, quite frankly. I get a few complaints about, yeah, there you go. You blame a lot of things on me, but I'm, okay for most of the time. But we have a great group of associates, and they need to have a break from you. They love you, but sometimes they just need to stop working for a bit and just enjoy a meal and not have to think about a resident coming through. Because when the resident comes through, we're all going to stop what we're doing and what can we help you with? That's not rest. That's not a break. So we tried to create this new associate treehouse to really, take care of our associates. And we tried to make it as nice as we could because it's an extraordinary impression we hope for our associates, which they deserve. And I think that happy associates make for happy residents, which makes for happier bosses. Yes, ma'am?
Where is it?
It is on the 3rd floor of the Windsor. You didn't know that? You knew
Yeah, I
that.
did.
Well, why are you bothering me then? No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. So, Yes, it's on third, so see, there might have been some people not offended, and now they are. I'm kidding. So it's on the third floor, and it's replacing, it's what used to be the community space for the old assisted living. So we repurposed that space, and now it's available for the associates to use. It has a great gym. It has locker rooms, which we did a project a long time ago on the Preston locker rooms, but if you would look at those locker rooms, they're terrible in the Preston building. And so this was quite an upgrade there. It has a classroom, a new cafeteria, a library, a quiet room, and it also has a balcony. And it's very nice. And it has a game room, which may inspire you to want a game room too. Who knows? So those are pictures of the spaces. It's very nice. The associates are very proud of it, and we're very proud to provide it for them. And I do appreciate most of the kind words. I've received a lot of kind emails and kind words about it, and I appreciate you understanding how important it is to take care of our associates. I've had a lot of questions about the third floor Windsor apartment homes. They used to be the assisted living. They've been converted to independent living and guest rooms. The work is now complete. We're waiting on some fire alarm system work, wiring, and then also the city inspection to sign off on the space. And these are about 600 square feet, 1-bedroom apartments. And they'll be converted to a combination of guest apartments and then also independent living resident apartments. And we're glad to get those finished. Now, these were not in the budget because I didn't know, like, the city of Austin is not very predictable sometimes. And so I didn't assume that they would be finished this year, just in case. And I'm glad that they're finished. Now that once this area is inspected and we receive the final okay from the city, then we'll start working on the new art studio that's going to go up there. We haven't been able to do that work because we have to have them sign off on the permit that's at the city and not realize that we're going to handle that art studio ourselves. Otherwise, they would say you need to include that in the permit, and I don't want to have to do that. So, all right. Extraordinary impression cards, everybody knows what those are, the star cards. Thank you for submitting those. I received quite a few myself and passed those along. I'm not supposed to tell you that we won a couple new awards until April the 16th. So the bottom two lines of this slide, please ignore. And that was a mistake put in there. I used the same slide for the board, so never mind. Pottery Studio open house occurred. Really have a great instructor there. Lots of people checked it out, and I hope that you all brush up on your pottery skills and start making bowls we can sell, and maybe sell them in the little store or something. I'm looking forward to it. Here's some pictures, and the guy is capable of, whether you've never done it before or you maybe have a little experience with it, he's capable of teaching you no matter what, and I think it's going to be really cool. Frickelbrot. I love this. You guys did such a great job. I watched the video. That was a great undertaking. Good job. I just want to pass on my kudos to that. The Easter party. Lots of Easter eggs. Sorry about the disruption it might have been, but it was a nice party. Lady Bird Johnson Wildflower Center. That was a great little trip. And then Barton Springs Mill Tour. Anybody bring back some flour and different things? Yeah. You gonna make some bread for us?
No, but somebody else is.
Okay, I'll take that. The New Horizons band. This is pretty neat. Hopefully you enjoyed that. And April 1st, Westminster's 57th anniversary will be celebrated. And we're going to celebrate our extraordinary not-for-profit community, despite what you may think we're making on the line. We are not, I promise. And we're going to celebrate with a Spirit Week. And so Monday, April 1st, which is actually it's April Fool's Day, but that is actually the date that Westminster opened in 1967. And so the idea is to wear your oldest Westminster shirt or polo shirt. Some of us have been here a while, so we probably have some old logo shirts. And then on Tuesday, April 2nd, Westminster colors, so that's blue and white. And then Wednesday, your favorite Westminster shirt. Thursday, how many of you have a Westminster shirt? Raise your hands like you mean it. Okay. So you know where you can get one. Little store. You can probably, actually, I will have some topping off shirts I can give away also. I'll have those available at the reception desk. And then you can purchase shirts in the little store, and the proceeds go to Alzheimer's Texas, or for our team fundraising. Thursday, April 4th, dress like it's 1967. I'm not sure what that means. Can you help me? Is that like a tie-dye shirt and jeans or something? Bell bottoms? I don't have any bell bottoms. Does anyone in this room have bell bottoms still? No?
Leisure suit.
Leisure suit, okay. All right, Friday, April 5th is an Austin, Texas, or Texas shirt. So for every day that you participate, you can go to the reception desk and they will give you a raffle ticket. And then you hold on to those raffle tickets until my April 20th chat? 24th? Wow, you do such a great job, Ruth. Yeah, so you hold on to those, and you bring them to the chat, and then we're going to put them in a fishbowl or something, and then we're going to draw 4 prizes. 2 grand prizes of $570 off your monthly service fee, or 2 gift cards for $57. 1 prize per resident, and the raffle will occur at the next chat. We will also have refreshments. Now, would you like to have a refreshment with some alcohol in it or alcohol free? Who wants to have a margarita?
We're going to have a social hour here.
Oh, social hour will be here. Okay, so who wants to have margaritas for the social hour? Who doesn't want to have margaritas? Well, okay, we'll have margaritas then. Yeah, so I look forward to that, and we'll mingle afterwards, and I'll actually hang around for the social. Unless you throw things at me and blame me for the breaking down of the exhaust fan on the roof, then I'm not going to stay. We want to do some Q&A. We have about 15 minutes.
I walk around the campus a lot, and I've been noticing something that sort of concerns me. You all know the boxes that are on the wall with the pull string. Well, in the hallway where the art is, and out in the visitor parking, there's someone is taking that string and looping it over the box. But what that means, if I fall and I can't walk over there and I crawl, I can't reach that. So the strings are, they're supposed to be all the way to the ground or near it. So whoever it is, or if you see someone, ask them not to do that. If you see it looped over, please unloop it. I continue to see that weekly. And so that's really dangerous for everyone. Thank you.
Good advice.
Are we going to get the information that you showed the last couple of slides somewhere? I didn't have time to write it all down.
For the Spirit Week?
The raffle, yes.
Yes, I will be posting
Actually,
it on the portal.
I brought handouts, Ruth.
Oh.
Right here. There's about 30 copies. But yeah, we can do that. We're definitely going to put it on 1890 and also on the portal and everything.
I figured.
So also on my stage, I have samples of the flooring for the pickleball court, multi-sport court. There's also a pamphlet on the golf and game simulator. If you want to read up on that, I did not bring very many copies of that. What other questions? Any other questions? Oh, Ruth,
Sorry?
help me.
Oh.
Questions?
This isn't actually a question, it's a commendation. And that has to do with the Carlisle elevators.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yay. I only had to get a hold of the owner of the company for both White Construction and the elevator company to get that done. Thank you, though, for mentioning it. And it is a lot faster. I have to admit that. Yes, sir.
how often are the pull cords tested in our apartments? We tried to use them, and I ended up having to call telephones because they were out of order. And I just wondered if there was a testing schedule for that.
Yeah, I think they check all of them annually, but they also are supposed to have a transmitting device that reports back to the console when it's low on batteries or something, or if there's a malfunction that it's not reporting anymore. So it's kind of a fluke that you had one that didn't work and we didn't know about it. 3 times?
Just 2 or 3 that didn't work in our apartment.
And those are the pull cords?
Yeah, no, wait a minute. Our batteries in our little thing we hang around our neck did not work, and one of the pull cords did not work.
Well, we'll check into that. Same thing's supposed to happen when your pendant runs low on batteries. It's supposed to report to the consoles at the reception desk.
Yeah,
And then we go around based on those reportings and replace batteries and pendants.
The dispensers for the sanitizers are quite frequently not working because they're empty.
I mentioned that to the EVS director the other day, but thank you for reminding me.
Can we have a tour of the the associate area that's on the 3rd floor of the Windsor?
I just showed you pictures of it. Okay, I guess so. I guess we can do that. How many people would be interested in doing that? A tour? Okay. Will you help me recruit associates if I take you there? Okay, we can do that. It's not quite finished. It's about 90% finished right now. I have some artwork that needs to go up and some cubbies and bookshelves for the library. Yes, ma'am.
Please help me understand the wine policy. There seems to be confusion in my mind at least. I totally understand why we don't want to become a liquor store. But on the other hand, how come we're not allowed to bring our own bottles into the Loyal or the Lowen?
It's actually the liquor license regulations that don't allow that. That's one of the reasons. So if you have a liquor license, you cannot bring your own. You can't even do the corkage fee thing, which I tried to kind of scoot around the regulations, but the Laurel and the Rowan both have liquor licenses. I didn't get a liquor license for the bistro so that you could bring your own. And that's also one of the reasons that we tried to keep the liquor prices down so that you're able to enjoy the amenity and use your dining dollars for it. And actually our wines are really good, and I think our cocktails are really good too. That's my personal opinion. Yes?
Chuck, I have a question for you.
Okay,
I've
you're good.
heard that White Construction has been awarded the expansion contract for the Laurel. Is that true?
That is true.
Why was it awarded to White Construction, considering the lousy job they did on the Caroline building?
Well, I think that for the most part, they've done a pretty good job. The thing that's happening sometimes is the subcontractor under them has not done a good job, or under Westminster's program, right? The elevator is that's a bad subcontractor, right? Schindler. They have a good reputation. And they've done good work in other buildings, but in many times the problems that we've had with the Carlisle building have been the designers, right? So like I know that, the residents in the Carlisle are wanting solar film placed on the windows. Well, that's not White Construction. That was the film or the window system, the glass that was selected by the architects. Air conditioning systems. Well, those were designed by the mechanical engineers, and they installed what they were told to install, right? They didn't design the air conditioning system, but they did have the subcontractor that did install it working under their purview. And so I have asked for certain subcontractors that have worked on the Carlisle building to be removed from the bidding contractors, because I do think that there have been instances of inferior service, inferior work. But I don't believe that White Construction as a general contractor was totally responsible for the errors, put it that way.
Well, with no outside air coming into the Carlisle building, at least not on the 5th floor, that seems to me as a very disturbing situation, considering people are older here and there's no way of getting outside air into the building.
So there is fresh air coming into the building.
Well, no, that's not what was told the other day. Some of the guys came up and said, no, that either it's a fan or something else is not working, and no air conditioning, no fresh air has been coming into that building.
I'll check into it, but
Please do,
that's not what I heard.
And I have a second question for you on that remodel. I hope to God they're going to make a big, big kitchen. This is the issue with the kitchens around here. Kitchens are too small for the chefs to work in. So I'm hoping on that Laurel one that instead of a bigger dining room, we have a bigger kitchen, if that's a possibility at this stage of the game.
The kitchen's not changing in size. And actually, I mean, the kitchens are very good kitchens. Some of the best in the state, honestly. So I don't think the kitchen size is a problem. And I used to work in kitchens. I'm an old food and beverage guy myself. And I've worked in these, and they're really actually some of the nicest kitchens with the nicest equipment and the best designs. And we were heavily involved. I can tell you that if there's any food and beverage, new services are being brought on that we are supervising it ourselves. We're not having a consultant do it for us. So we get exactly what we want to get.
Thank you for the explanation. Thank you.
Okay. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you all. If you're interested in the flooring that's going to be used for the sport court, or you would like to check out the specifications on the glass that's been installed in the Windsor and the Carlisle, there's information up here.